Hey everyone, is this working? I'm having some trouble getting it to work this morning. This says I'm live, but I don't know. Oh, my phone says I'm live. There's Aurelia. Hey y'all. Um, instead of coffee with a pastor, this morning is oatmeal with a pastor. So, welcome to oatmeal with a pastor. I think it's a little dangerous to be eating live. I got to talk with my mouth full. Bad manners. And I might get chia in my teeth and not know it, and then you would see it. But hey, everyone. Who all's here today? I'm only seeing Aurelia so far. Cool. Looks like Emily and Chad are here. Who else? What is today? Today's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you. We wait just a little bit more to see who else jumps on. Hey, Ciara. I hope I'm saying your name right. Ciara? Let me know if not. I am 99.9% sure I'm saying it right. That's a joke back to Sunday where I was 99.9% sure that it was Augie's birthday, and it wasn't. And Aurelia pointed out then that I was 99.9% wrong. Hey, Jeff and Tammy. Tammy and Jeff. Hope y'all are well. Here's my camping mug. I am missing camping, and usually here in Texas, the best time to camp is spring and fall, and just didn't work out this year. Because I'm back in grad school, and it's hard to get away, and then secondly, coronavirus. Oh, hold on. She says it's Sierra, but I was 99.9% wrong again. But I answered almost anything. My coffee has come back marked for Shira. Zaira. That's funny. That's actually a really cool way to spell it. Hey, y'all. So we are hoping to go camping maybe next month. Camping in summer in Texas. It's a bold move. You got to be committed, but we're working on it. Well, it's been 3 minutes, so let me just jump into what I wanted to share about this morning. I wanted to share a little bit of my testimony in good Christian Baptist fashion. You know, we all have testimonies, or really, we have stories about what brought us to where we are. And I believe strongly that it's our stories that carry us through life, the narratives, the stories. Hey, Lyle. So I've been giving some more thought to my story this morning, and what I wanted to share with you is how I kind of got here to be a pastor. I did not, hey, we got more people jumping on. Hey, y'all. I did not grow up in a particularly religious family. If you grow up in the South, and if you grow up in Texas like I did, small town Texas, it's kind of in the water. It's kind of in the air. You're just kind of exposed to Christianity and a very particular strain of Christianity. Some of y'all that are from the South will know exactly what I mean. And it's just part of the culture. It's just part of society. But we didn't really go to church as a family. It wasn't a big part of what we did. I did have a stepmom for a while in elementary school. Her name is Janet. She's one of the heroes of my life. She's an absolute saint for being able to be part of our family for those years and put up with all the hell that she put up with. But she she during that time when she was in my life for elementary school, we went to church for a while there, and kind of mixed blessing because that it was in that church where I really developed a fear of God and a fear of hell, and especially a fear of the rapture and of getting left behind. So as I look back and think about the community or the theology and what that church must have been teaching a lot of, it must have been a really fear-based community around you better be living right or you're going to get left behind and you're going to endure, unthinkable, terrible stuff. And then you're going to burn in hell forever. I remember once they left me at the house alone. I don't know why. And now that I look back at it, it's a little weird to leave an elementary school kid at the house all alone. And they were supposed to come get me in like 30 minutes. Like one parent left me, the other parent was supposed to come get me 30 minutes later. Well, like an hour or more went by. Who knows? Time in a kid's world is all jacked up. Long time went by, longer than it should have been. And I was so sure the rapture happened and I got left behind. And I was scared to death. I was making plans about how I was going to survive in this new reality with the Antichrist, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't even planning on telling all this, but apart from that, we weren't, hey Joyce, hey David, we weren't a very religious family, especially after Janet left. I somehow made it through the next, if she left at the beginning of sixth grade, I made it through the next 6 years until I could graduate high school and get the hell out of there. And I moved 5 or 6 hours away to go to college. Number one, because that's where my girlfriend was going, and she got accepted to Texas Tech University, Lubbock, Texas. And number two, I just wanted to get away. And it wasn't about leaving small town. It was about, just getting away from my family. At that point, my siblings had all left to go live with other family members or made up family members because they just wanted to get away as well. And I was the only one left. And so I left, and I'm a freshman in college at Texas Tech University, this crazy, scary metropolis of Lubbock, Texas. I mean, they had like 200,000 people there. It was this metropolis I had never been to. I was scared. It was huge. Even though the city is laid out like a grid, it literally is a grid, and all the streets are numeric ascending one way and alphabetized the other way, I would still get so lost and so scared in this huge city. And I had just left behind so much of my life. I had left behind, yes, what was something of a family for me. It was kind of all I knew in the world. I'd left behind my small town community that I knew pretty well. I'd left behind all my friends, pretty much. That girl that I was dating, and the reason why I went to Texas Tech, we had broken up before school even started, but I'd already got accepted and put, deposit down on my dorm and paid tuition, registered, all that stuff. But that was gone from me. Football was my life, of course. Small town Texas, right? Everybody worships football, so maybe that was the church I actually did go to. I look at me. I'm 5'8". I'm 150 pounds. I am not going to play college football. So I had lost that community. I had lost everything it felt like in my life. And so I started looking for a new community. And I thought, well, what do freshmen in college do? Well, they rush to be a part of a fraternity. So I went through the rush process to join a Greek fraternity. And there was just something in me that was disillusioned by the whole thing. I just didn't find it appealing for some reason. They just seemed like, it seemed like more of high school to me. Every fraternity house you would go to, they would talk about how we have the best intramural sports teams. We're going to win. And if you come here, you're going to win. And we throw the best party, and we get the hottest girls at our parties, and we get the best alcohol, blah, 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 all that stuff. And 18-year-old me was just kind of like, if this is all there is, I'm just not that interested. And I think I was still grieving all of those other losses that I left behind. And then there was this one fraternity I really wanted to join. It was kind of one out of 20 or that I actually wanted to be a part of. And so I thought, well, if they cut me, if I don't make it through their rush process, well, then it's a sign that I don't need to be a part of this. And sure enough, they cut me. I don't know what they wouldn't want about Matt Henzelka, but I wasn't what they were looking for. And so I just kind of went into this deep, dark, low spot in my life. And I felt like I was just kind of falling. I've never been depressed. I've never known what it is to truly be clinically depressed, according to like how the DSM-5 would define it. But I would say that was one of the low points in my life. Just kind of a real gray area. And then one Friday night, a friend that had come from Lampasas, Texas, she had gone to Texas Tech as well. She stopped by my dorm and she said, "Hey, I'm going to a party. It's for a Christian fraternity, or with a Christian fraternity. They're hosting it. Would you like to go?" And I said, "I've got nothing else to do. Here I am on a Friday night, stuck in my dorm, not doing anything. Freshman in college, supposed to be having the time of my life." And so she invited me there, and I went, and it was this great atmosphere. There was all these young people, men, women, all just having fun, loud music, dancing, but there was nothing, crazy going on, no fights, nothing too shady, no alcohol that I saw at the time, no drugs that I could see. And I just thought, this looks like kind of a safe place I could land right now. And so I sought out the leadership of the fraternity and I said, "Hey, what would it take for me to join, to be a part of this Christian fraternity?" And they said, "Well, come, Rush is over. You missed Rush, but, we'll see what we can do. Come to these meetings tomorrow." And so they were doing these one-on-one interviews. And so I went, and I'm sitting there before some panel of guys. I guess they were the officers of the fraternity, and they interview me, and I don't remember anything they asked me. But then we get to the end of this hour-long interview, and they say, "Well, you seem like a nice guy, Matt, but we are a Christian fraternity, so you have to be a Christian to be a part of our fraternity. So are you a Christian?" And I was like, "Sure." And they're like, "Well, you kind of have to you have to say that Jesus is Lord. Is Jesus Lord of your life?" And I was like, "Okay, sure. No, he hasn't been, but going forward, yeah, okay, I can do that." And they say, "Well, great, okay, you're in." And so you get to go through kind of this pledge semester and be a pledge along with, I think it was like, I don't know, 20 or 25 other young men who had rushed and were pledging. And, I just had the time of my life that semester. Really, ABC, yeah. And it wasn't because I had like woken up to some sense of like, I'm a real piece of shit sinner and I need a holy God to save me. And it wasn't because somebody had presented the 4 spiritual laws to me, or the Roman road, or because, all these traditional ways that you think of some conversion experience. It wasn't that at all. For me, it was about, I had found this community of light and love and acceptance and life. Did I say life? I said light, love, accept, all these things. And they had said, "Welcome. Sure, they made me check a few boxes, but for the most part, they said, welcome. We're glad you're here. And I think that has always, always, always shaped for me then what the church should be. As I look back, it wasn't a perfect community. I see that they were a pretty theologically and philosophically conservative community. Our LGBTQ brothers and sisters were not welcome there. And as I look back, I realized there were some guys that were excluded and kind of ostracized from the community. One young man because he was gay. You know, different denominations. We tried to make jokes around some of this stuff, but you could see that different denominations weren't welcome. LDS Mormons weren't welcome. So we weren't totally inclusive. We weren't perfect. We weren't totally accepting. But what I take away from this is how welcome I felt in this safe community. And so this has always then been the kind of community I wanted to build. How did I end up being a pastor? Well, it was this sense of I want to help build a community like I first experienced, which is to say, I've wanted to build this community where you don't have to all believe the same thing. You don't all have to come from some church background. Instead, you just want to belong to a community that is life-giving. You want to belong to a community that is safe. You want to belong to a community that is trying to practice love as best as you know how. And so that's what we are trying to foster here at Peace. And that's why I keep coming back. This is the kind of community that we are trying to be. This is why I'm willing to and privileged to work alongside Fran and Aurelia and our deacons and our SLC, all of our leadership, and really the community. The ethos of the community follows all this. We're trying to build this kind of welcome, accepting, affirming community where, as I've said many times, we're not a community centered around a bunch of cognitive beliefs and you have to check those beliefs off. Instead, we're a community centered around Jesus and trying to practice the loving way of Jesus, this radical, loving, inclusive, accepting way of Jesus. I didn't even look at my notes at all. What did I forget from my notes? I know that by many, many, many measures, we are not an orthodox community. By many American evangelical Baptist, whatever label you want to put on it, we do not fit orthodoxy. That would make us heterodox. That means we are heretical. We are practicing heresy in our community because we do not follow many of the so-called orthodox practices of different communities, preaching hell, preaching eternal damnation for those who can't think exactly the same way as everybody else. Instead, what we place at the highest of high is this loving community that says welcome to everybody. That's why I'm here. That's why I keep coming back. That's what we are trying to build around here. I don't care, honestly. I don't care if you are Buddhist, if you are atheist, if you are Catholic, if you are any variety of Christian, if you are a agnostic, none of that stuff matters to me. What I'm more interested in is, do you want to be a part of a community that's trying to live the loving way of Jesus? Okay, now I'm starting to ramble and just repeat myself. I heard it said once that all preachers really only have one sermon. They have one sermon that they preach again and again and again in all different kinds of ways. This is kind of my one sermon. Let's be a community practicing the radical love of Jesus. And as a leader, I do think I will be more accountable to God. And one day I'm going to stand before God. And if I'm doing all this wrong, I'll say, hey, God, apparently I was wrong. I misunderstood. I just didn't think that I could outlove and outwelcome you. So that was what I tried to lean toward, is to be as loving and welcoming as I possibly could, thinking I couldn't outlove and outwelcome you. So that's the one sermon you'll hear me preach in every sermon I ever preach. Let me see what comments here I need to jump in and interact with. A lot of good stuff. Sierra says San Francisco was like that for me. It was huge. San Francisco and Lubbock, they're basically the same thing. Not really. You were justified to get lost in San Francisco. Me getting lost in Lubbock, I don't know about that. Okay, I love you all. This is up to 20 minutes now. It's getting long. I hope you enjoyed my rambling testimony story. I would love to hear your testimonies, your stories of what brought you to faith and why you keep coming back to faith. We are increasingly a post-Christian society, so I'm increasingly curious, why do people stick around with this whole Jesus thing and this whole faith thing? What's keeping you sticking around? So maybe that would be something fun to do if we could hear one another's testimonies more. Maybe Aurelia and Fran and I can kick around what that might look like. But I love you all. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.